Good morning, friends. Each morning is like the start of a new year, a new beginning, another chance, a gift that is another day.
Chin up, babe, tomorrow's a new year, little darling. Old Lang Syne and all the other cheers. In the moment feels just like you're here, little darling. Write your resolutions without fear, or leave them on the floor. Go and open a new door. Just keep blindly facing forward. Sun's the hottest at its core, and I warned you I get bored. There's too much to be explored, things that we cannot ignore. Drop the ball and be restored. Chin up, babe, tomorrow's a new year, little darling. Old Lang Syne and all the other cheers. Chin up, babe, tomorrow's a new year, little darling. Old Lang Syne and all the other cheers.
Good morning, friends, and welcome to my weekly morning routine. So, my morning routine hasn't changed very much at all since the last time I posted a morning routine video. The times always vary. I'm not capable of always waking up at 5 a.m., especially on weekends. However, I do love waking up early. There is something so special about the earliest hours of the morning, and I just find it so comforting, and I find that if I get an early start to the day, I feel so much better going into the day. Also, mornings are just my me time. Waking up early is my most reliable way to make sure that I'm getting in enough self-care and me time, if you will. And recently I have so much that I'm interested in and so many things that I want to spend my time doing. So I've made a slight adjustment to my morning routine, and it is a week-long process. So I thought that I would record this week-long morning routine video. I have my non-negotiables that I do every single morning, no matter what, even on weekends. And those are to enjoy a healthy cup of tea, to journal or write, to read, and to exercise. I do each of these things every single morning, no matter what, no matter how late I wake up. So those non-negotiables are kind of my anchor. As long as I do those 4 things, I feel grounded, I feel good, I feel on top of things, and like I have some semblance of direction in my life. They're just my way of checking in. But then on top of that, and a big part of the reason why I like to or need to wake up so early for my morning routine, is the hour in between doing those things and getting ready and having breakfast and starting my work routine. That hour of time is when I do the things that I'm interested in and that are just for fun. And so here's my weekday layout or plan. On Mondays, I spend that hour of time taking a Skillshare class in whatever I'm interested in. It can be career-based, it can be art-based, it can be language-based. Last week I did a taxes Skillshare course because, you know, that's fun as a small business. Then on Tuesday, I love to practice Spanish. I try and practice Spanish as much as I can, every single day even. My phone's in Spanish. However, on Tuesdays, I take an hour to really dig in and refresh on grammar. I'll read a book in Spanish. I'll watch part of a movie in Spanish, or look up recipes, or do cultural research because I love learning about different cultures. Wednesdays are my self-help / motivation days. So usually by the middle of the week, I'm feeling kind of low on energy and either lost in overwhelm at all that I haven't yet accomplished. So usually I start the day off by listening to a podcast, or I listen to a podcast during that hour-long time, and I reset and then do some sort of self-help activity. Thursdays are my sketching days. As you guys know, if you've been here for a while, I am teaching myself how to draw. I would love to be an illustrator of some sort. I would love to sell prints of my art and just be able to share my art in different ways with you guys. I think it's so important to have multiple creative avenues, and video editing is very clearly one of mine, but I love illustration and like just drawing, painting, hand art to be another avenue for me. And then lastly, on Friday, I spend my hour of free time outside in the forest. Normally I just need to recharge from the crazy busy work week, and I find that the most effective way to do that for me personally is to go and walk among the trees and listen to the creek, the sound of running water, and breathe in the fresh mossy air. It is so rejuvenating for me. It fills me with life. So there's the outline, and in the rest of this video, I'm going to take you guys along and show you what I do during these hours and just go into more detail about how I practice Spanish, what kind of Skillshare classes I take, how I've been teaching myself to draw, and so on and so forth. So friends, go ahead and grab yourselves a hot cup of tea or coffee, your favorite cozy blanket, and cheers! Alright, I've just finished my hour of Skillshare, so I don't know if I mentioned before, I definitely would have included it in my summary, but usually from 7 to 8 is when I have my hour of free time in the morning, and I found a class on Skillshare all about houseplants and taking care of your houseplants. It is springtime, and every spring I like to do some repotting and just overall plant maintenance, and I like to learn more about the plants that I do have. And so I found this really great class on Skillshare. It's called Plants at Home, Uplift Your Spirit and Your Space by Christopher Griffin, otherwise known as Plant Queen. And I thought the class was really well done. It is definitely geared towards beginners, so I was already familiar with a lot of what they talked about. However, I did learn some really helpful tips, and so now I feel inspired to create a watering routine that I love, and I'm very much looking forward to a plant repotting spa day in the near future. I'll probably film it. I wish that I hadn't labeled this day just Skillshare, because it's not limited to Skillshare. I actually have journals that I've filled with things that I've learned not only through Skillshare. Like, for example, I became very interested in soundtrack making, or the scores to films, and composing music. I cannot play a musical instrument, but I love music, and I think that music is a huge part of the heart and soul of my videos on YouTube. So I wanted to better understand how music is composed, and I was fascinated by the process of how soundtracks are made for movies. Other topics I've studied on these days are veganism, racism, women's health. I also really enjoy going back to Skillshare, taking writing courses and trying writing prompts and just learning or gaining more confidence in my ability to develop characters and set a scene. So much can be accomplished within an hour, especially when you're really interested in whatever you're learning about. This particular Skillshare class that I took today was 50 minutes, which was the perfect amount of time with filming. So yeah, I really recommend spending an hour a week if at all possible, to learn something new, because it feels really good. I'm gonna go ahead and get to work and catch up with you guys tomorrow morning. Good morning, friends, and happy Tuesday. Hello from Monsieur Roux, making himself comfortable as always. Today is my Spanish practice day. So many of you probably know that I am studying Spanish. I've actually studied Spanish for nearly 10 years now. I studied it all throughout school and then also double majored in it in my university. So needless to say, Spanish is a passion of mine. I love how knowing this language opens up so much more of the world to me. I love getting to know a totally different culture and just being able to communicate with exponentially more people all around the world because I speak a second language. That being said, there are so many ways that I have kept up with my Spanish over the years since I've not been in school, and some of my favorites are watching my favorite movies in Spanish. I love reading translations of my favorite childhood books in Spanish, so like Harry Potter is a really good one if you're just starting out, and then I've also read tons of actual native Spanish literature. Yeah, my list goes on. I actually made a whole video dedicated to learning Spanish or just a new language in general, and I'll pop it up here. Today though, I'm gonna start my Spanish hour by doing a lesson on Duolingo, and then recently I rediscovered my intermediate Spanish level textbook, and I've been going through it and refreshing my memory on grammar and different vocabulary, and this probably sounds so nerdy, but it's something that I love doing. It makes me feel so good to keep up with my Spanish, and then also it's just been nice to reconnect with my younger self. I feel so nostalgic reading the notes that I made in the margins of these textbooks. And so I'm gonna go ahead and get to it. It is nearly 8 a.m., but I'm gonna go ahead and just work up until 9 a.m. when I start work, my actual work. So, vámonos, amigos, y salud. That was so hard.
¿Qué estaban haciendo esos actores famosos? Juegos de mesa. Están limpiando mi portátil.
I improved my score from 1 to 1%. So Wednesday is my difficult day of the week. Normally I start off Monday so strong and it carries into Tuesday, and then by Wednesday I'm exhausted and cannot believe that I have to get through Thursday and Friday before the weekend. Yes, make yourself comfortable, please. And so I like to dedicate a little bit of time every Wednesday morning to getting just re-inspired and re-motivated and excited about my future and my best life. And I do this through many different ways, like listening to podcasts or reading a best life book. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do some best life work up until I actually start work for the day. And for my Patreon this month, we're reading Big Magic, Creative Living Beyond Fear by Elizabeth Gilbert. I thought it would be fun to create like a challenge or a guide on how to pursue your creative dream life using the teachings that Liz Gilbert shares in this book. So I've finished reading, but I'm gonna go ahead and finish summarizing my notes and then create some form of workshop or guide for my patrons. I finished. It is much later in the day. Actually, it's the evening now, and I've just finished work for the day. This took longer than I thought, but I enjoyed every single minute of it. So I ended up doing a 7-day creative dream life guide. Elizabeth Gilbert says that in order to live a life that's more fueled by creativity and curiosity than by fear, you need 5 essential ingredients, and those ingredients are courage, enchantment, permission, persistence, and trust. And so I went ahead and created a 7-day challenge to cultivate each of those ingredients. And I can't wait to share it with my patrons. It makes me so happy that I have a group of people that are interested in this sort of thing and who want to do these self-help best life things with me. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. And it was taking the time to read Big Magic each Wednesday that enabled me to come up with this guide and share something with my patrons, which is very satisfying. I'm really, really grateful to have the flexibility and freedom to have the morning routine that I have. And with that, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Good morning, friends. Welcome to another morning in my morning routine. On Thursdays, I like to sketch. So if you've been around here for a while now, you'll know that I've been teaching myself how to draw for about 1.5 years now. Very off and on, I haven't been totally devoted to the process of learning. However, more recently, I have gotten really into it. And honestly, the process of being new at something is so much fun. It was frustrating at first, but just getting a little bit better has made it so much fun. There's no pressure to be good, and when something does actually turn out the way that I want it to, the feeling is amazing. It's almost like the same feeling of when I finish a video that I really love. And so it's been really, really good for me to dedicate a little bit of time each week to drawing. I've been teaching myself with a collection of books back here actually. They're kind of an assortment of workbooks on everything from drawing nature to drawing city architecture to watercolor and everyday house items. They've been extremely fun and very satisfying to look at. It's also just been so satisfying to fill up this sketchbook. I mean, I'm nowhere near close to filling it up, but as I fill it in, it makes me so happy. I can already see the progress that I've made. So I really recommend picking up kind of a side hobby to work on during your morning routine if you have the time. This morning I was just sketching a daffodil from our front yard. Spring has officially sprung, and this daffodil is proof of that. Okay friends, it's time that I got to work. I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning friends, and welcome to the forest. This is my happy place, and I love to conclude my week-long morning routine in the forest. It's just a wonderful way to unwind and de-stress after the craziness of the work week. I don't know, there's just something very comforting about walking through the forest for me. It's like, as long as there are trees and the stream and the animals and plants, everything will be okay. It's just a reminder that life goes on no matter what. And so in comparison to the forest, my problems and fears and worries seem so small and insignificant. It is just a huge comfort to me to go on walks and be awed by the forests of the Pacific Northwest. So this concludes my work week morning routine. I do just want to say that I have filmed this video, and why I bring that up is to just emphasize the fact that it's very much curated to look beautiful. You know, my life does not always look the way that I make it seem on camera. My morning routine does not look like a fairy tale most of the time. This is in fact how I spend my mornings. However, I've made it look very cinematic because I'm a videographer. I'm very much aware of which angles look best, and I can play with lighting and white balance to make things look more golden. So do not compare your life to these videos if it makes you feel lesser or not good enough or something along those lines. Keep in mind that this is art and that your life is just as important and extraordinary as mine, no matter what it looks like. I also do want to say that I wake up extremely early in order to do all of these things in the morning, and because I do it all in the morning, my evenings don't look at anything like this. I usually end up working up until I go to bed. My me time is in the mornings, and that's exactly how I prefer it. Okay friends, I think that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that you've enjoyed it. And here's to seeing the magic in our very video-worthy lives. So good.